My name is Kevin Smith. I'm a 55-year-old company employee. I live with my wife Helen and our daughter Karen, who's about to turn 30 years old. Actually, my daughter Karen isn't actually my real child. Karen was Helen's daughter from her previous marriage, and when Karen was 12 years old, she and her mother moved in with me. Even though we weren't biologically related, after we had been living together for a long period of 18 years, we were practically like a real family at that point. The other day, even at Karen's engagement party involving her fiancé and his family, I fulfilled my role as the father. That's right, Karen was about to get married soon. Her partner was a fine gentleman who was working at a solid company, and his parents also seemed like people who had great manners. When I got married to Helen, I did my best to somehow fulfill the duties of a father, but I guess this meant that my role was going to be over soon. I was happy for her, but also a little bit sad. It was a strange feeling. At this turning point in my life, I also decided to raise my hand for early retirement from the company that I had been working at for all these years. And so, from now on, it means that I was graduating from the two major rules in my life as this company employee and as a father. I was also able to receive a supplementary resignation bonus, and so I'm thinking about taking my time to think about my next life while enjoying feeling like newlyweds again with my wife, Helen. Now that I was standing at a turning point of my life, I was feeling satisfaction for having gotten this far, and also a sadness to be saying farewell to two big parts of my life. However, an incident was about to occur that was going to completely destroy this happiness. That happened when I was sitting down and having dinner with Helen and Karen at the dining table. Hey Karen, have you already decided on a wedding venue? Once you secure the date, let me know as soon as possible. When I said that to Karen, Karen snickered, and then she said this.
What? You don't need to put it into your calendar. There's no need for you to attend the wedding anyway.
Huh? When I looked at Karen, she had a cold smile on her face that I had never seen before.
My real dad is going to attend the wedding.
What do you mean, your real dad? You mean your biological father?
That's right. My real dad. I want my real father to attend my wedding. That's why you're just my stepdad, so I don't want you to come.
I couldn't wrap my head around what Karen was saying to me, and that moment, after all this time spent with her, I was just a stepdad to her and not her real dad? The stepdad part was true, but I thought the three of us had developed a bond over the last 18 years as a real family. Karen, what on earth is going on? You're acting weird. What happened?
Weird? I'm not acting weird. I was just holding it in until now. I never once in my life thought of you as my dad.
What?
I just needed money for my lifestyle. That's why I was just putting on an act as a good daughter. But you know what? I'm getting married, and I don't need you as an ATM anymore. So it also means that I don't have to put on an act anymore.
I was so shocked by this sudden change in Karen that I was confused and didn't know what to do. You've been in contact with your biological father?
That's right. What's wrong with that? It's not like you have any right to tell me I can't, and I'm not going to listen to orders from my fake dad anyway.
I was at a loss for words, but Karen just laughed and got up from the dining room table.
Eating dinner with my dad makes the food taste worse. I'm gonna go now, but also I have a date now anyway. See ya!
After Karen got up from the table, I wasn't able to move. However, eventually, little by little, the anger started to boil inside of me. And your fake dad, you say? Don't attend the wedding, you say? No matter what had happened until now, I thought it was fate that we were able to become family, and I did my best over the years to fulfill the role of a father. And this is how she returns the love? Hey, Helen, what's wrong with her? What is going on with Karen? Seeing Karen's sudden change of attitude, my wife Helen was just as shocked as I was. Or so I thought, however, when I looked over at Helen's face sitting next to me. It sent chills down my spine. That's because, just like Karen earlier, Helen had a terrifyingly cold smile on her face.
What? But it's only the truth, isn't it? It's her own precious wedding. It's a given that she would want her father to attend her special day.
Helen, what are you saying? I became even more confused. Not only Karen, but even Helen. Was I in the middle of some terrible nightmare?
I mean, I was only living here with you so that I could survive. There was no way that I would be able to be a single mom with such a little child. But with this, all of that is over. Ah, what a long 18 years it was. And first of all, this is your fault for getting an early retirement. You're only 55 years old, and you're unemployed? I can't entertain this.
But that was something that we discussed and decided together. In my 50s, I would still be able to get another job, and we said that this would be a great opportunity to start preparing for the next stage in our life.
What? Did you seriously believe me when I said that? The only reason why I pushed you to get the early retirement was obviously because I wanted your resignation money at this timing.
What?
Thanks to that, your resignation money was doubled and Karen is getting married, so I'm free of her too. With this, I can finally do whatever I want. So let's get a divorce.
As she said that, Helen also got up from the table and left. I guess it's true that when humans experience too big of a shock to the system, they take action that is strange and different from the usual. At that moment, that's what happened to me. When Karen and Helen changed into completely different people in front of me, my mind stopped working. I became dizzy and staggered back to my bedroom, and I slid right into bed. This has to be some kind of terrible nightmare. It has to be. There's no way that it's possible that these 18 years of us was all a lie. There's no way that that's okay. That's right, this must be a bad nightmare. If I fall asleep and wake up, I'm sure that my normal life is gonna come back and everything will be fine. Wake up from this nightmare, please hurry up and wake up. However, the next morning, I hadn't woken up from the nightmare. Not only that, but it had actually gotten worse. When I opened my eyes and I went into the living room, everything was completely gone from my apartment. I don't know when Helen and Karen had to come back, but while I was asleep, they had gathered up all of their belongings and they had disappeared somewhere. And then, my bank that contained my resignation money and retirement savings was also gone. I panicked. I ran out of the house. I tried to go look for Helen and Karen. I didn't even know where to go, and I was just wandering around when I glanced over at a cafe with glass windows. When I saw that scene inside, I was shocked to the core. To my disbelief, there were Helen and Karen happily enjoying some coffee with a single middle-aged man. The three of them were laughing and very close, and it was obvious to me that it wasn't a connection that they developed over 2 days. There was no doubt that that must be Helen's ex-husband. What the hell is this? It wasn't just Karen, but Helen had also kept in contact with her ex-husband all this time. I was devastated and completely shocked from this horrible betrayal by the two of them. I didn't even have the courage to go and confront the three of them, and I simply walked away from the scene. When I returned home, I drowned myself in alcohol that night. There was no way that I could deal with this situation without drinking. However, no matter how much I drank, the pain didn't go away, and I was only left with overflowing tears. What was my life over the last 18 years? Even though I thought of Karen as my true daughter, and Helen too, I thought that she had forgotten about her ex-husband and that she loved me from the bottom of her heart. More than the anger towards the two of them, I only felt pathetic about myself. I felt pathetic that for 18 whole years I had been lost in the world that didn't exist. I'm not. Even at this point, after everything, there was nothing that I could do about it. I felt like my entire life until that moment, and my life in the future, was all pointless. I just wanted to disappear somewhere and not deal with life anymore. However, at that moment, I received a phone call to my cell phone.
Hello, Uncle Kevin. It's been a long time. It's me, Paige.
The person that called me was my older brother's daughter, which meant she was my niece, Paige. My older brother actually passed away from illness when Paige was still a baby. When she was little, I was going to parent observation days and school activities in place of my older brother. But after I got remarried, we didn't get to see each other as often. And so it had been a long time since I heard from Paige. The last time I spoke to her, I'm pretty sure it was when I sent her a congratulatory envelope to celebrate her getting her first job, and she called me to thank me for that. Oh, hi, Paige. It's been a long time. What's the matter? I still wasn't able to get out of my shock, and because I was also a little bit drunk, I didn't have much energy to respond, but I spoke into the phone.
Actually, there was a favor that I wanted to ask you, Uncle Kevin.
A favor?
I'm actually going to be getting married soon, and so...
To hear the news that my niece was going to be getting married should have been an extremely happy thing. However, just right now, it was the worst possible timing. With the cell phone still in my hand, I suddenly started bawling. The moment I heard the news that Paige was going to get married, I remembered the moment that my daughter Karen told me that she was going to get married, and then I also remembered the awful betrayal by both Helen and Karen, and I was overwhelmed with emotions that I couldn't hold in.
What's wrong, Uncle Kevin? Are you okay?
Paige was shocked on the other end of the phone as she asked me, and without thinking, I ended up spilling everything that happened to me over the last 2 days. So that's what happened.
What the hell is that? That's horrible.
After my long story was over, Paige was furious for me. However, the moment I stopped talking, I was embarrassed, no matter how drunk I may have been. What kind of adult talks about their own household troubles in that way to their niece? No, Paige, I'm sorry. That wasn't something I should have told you. Please forget it.
Even if you say that, now that you've already told me once, there's no way that I could forget about it.
Yeah, that's true.
But still, Karen is an outrageous girl, but that's also so horrible of Aunt Helen. You know, Mom used to always say that that woman shouldn't be trusted, but she was right. It was so true.
When I heard that, I only became more and more embarrassed. Because I was the one that had made a woman who was seen like that from the outside my wife. However, that was when Paige suddenly started to laugh.
But I'm glad. It looks like my favor isn't going to become 2 birds, 1 stone. I think it's going to be 3 birds.
What?
I need to make sure that the people who mess with my precious uncle get exactly what they deserve and pay for it. Well, I don't need to dirty my hands over it. It's already certain that they'll be going straight to hell anyway.
Paige, what on earth are you saying? I stood there and couldn't understand why Paige had suddenly started to laugh. And it's certain that they're going to hell? What is she talking about? I was the one that was sitting right in the pit of hell right now.
Uncle Kevin, if you think logically about it, I'm sure you'll get it too. Right now, you might be too shocked. And because of the alcohol, you might not realize it yet. But there's no way that their plan is going to succeed anyway.
Why is that?
Oh, Uncle Kevin, looks like you had too much to drink. Listen, if you're asking why...
As I listened to Paige's explanation, I eventually forgot about my feelings of desperation, and I found myself laughing. That's right! Well, of course what Paige is saying is a fact.
Right? Do you understand now, right? So it looks like you have nothing to worry about, Uncle Kevin. Anyway, will you listen to my favor now? It seems like it was perfect timing after all.
As I continued talking to Paige, I forgot all about my feeling of wanting to disappear earlier, and instead it turned into excitement for the day of the wedding. And so today was finally the day of Karen's wedding. I put on a suit, and I was sitting by myself in a chair, and I was just looking out into the distance and daydreaming. But then, suddenly, I received a phone call from none other than Karen.
Dad, where are you right now?
Are you still gonna call me your dad? You said that you never once thought of me as your dad, right?
That's not important right now. Whatever. Please, just hurry up and come here right now. Otherwise, the wedding is going to be canceled.
I could imagine that right now. Karen was already at the wedding venue, and then trouble had occurred over there, and at this point she was undoubtedly panicking. I knew it. It was exactly as Paige had said. Is it your fiancé, and his parents are saying they're going to cancel? That there's no way they can marry a woman who's gonna switch out her father on the day of the wedding? But you know, even though just a few months ago I had met your partner's family as your father, it's amazing that you thought they wouldn't notice. That's right. I had already met Karen's fiancé as well as his parents at the engagement party a few months ago. So for them, they must have been shocked that the father of the bride that arrived to the wedding venue was a completely different person from the man that they met at the engagement party. And when they confronted her asking what was going on, she spilled the truth to them and they were fed up with her. I imagine that's what's happening right now. Anybody could have predicted how they would feel if they saw that there was a different father at the wedding. I can't believe that you didn't even realize that. And you were stupidly trying to carry on with your wedding. How selfish and clueless can you be? Even though I had completely forgotten about it until Paige pointed it out to me, that made me laugh even more.
Even my fiancé is furious, saying that he didn't think I was the type of woman to throw away the father that raised me. So if you don't come now, this is going to be a disaster. Please, come right now. If you do that, I'll kick out the other dad, and I'll let you sit in the father's seat.
No, I'm not going.
What?
I have no intention of going to your wedding. You can walk down the aisle with the man you say is your real dad. Although the question is whether your groom is going to be waiting for you at the end of that aisle.
But why?
Well, after everything that you've done to me, isn't that a given? And, plus, even in the odd chance that I wanted to go, I can't, because I'm busy right now. I'm about to walk down the aisle with a bride as her father, so I gotta go.
Huh?
It was by pure coincidence, but even though today was Karen's wedding, it was also the exact same day and time as Paige's wedding. Whenever the bride doesn't have a father, there are instances that she will walk down the aisle with her mother. But apparently there are also instances where the siblings of the father or their close friends would walk down the aisle with the bride. On that day, because I had looked after her when she was younger and filled in for her a number of times, and she was asking if I would walk her down the aisle in place of her father on the day of her wedding. So I need to walk down the aisle here, and of course there's no way I'm gonna leave and go over there, is there? So you can figure out your own situation.
But even if you say that there's something I can do, if my father isn't here, then
You said it yourself that you have your real dad over there, so there should be no problem if your fake dad isn't there. Oh, that reminds me. While I have you on the phone, tell Helen this.
Tell her what?
Tell her that just as she wanted, I plan on getting a divorce from her. and tell her that savings she stole from me, I plan on getting back from her. On top of that, let her know that she should be getting a phone call from my lawyer soon, and that I will be collecting a settlement fee from her and her ex-husband for the long-standing affair that they had while we were married. Those are the 3 points, that's all.
What? What?
Immediately after I received you and Helen's horrible betrayal, I was so shocked that I couldn't do anything. But of course, I wasn't just gonna drag myself around forever. And listen to this. This morning, when I greeted all of Paige's fiancé's guests at the wedding over here, turns out that the person that's gonna become Paige's husband is a lawyer, and his father is also the founder of a law agency. Both her husband and his father were very shocked when they heard my story, and they said that they'll do anything to help me with my case.
What?
Not to mention that most of the family members and guests are all lawyers, and well, at this rate, maybe I'm gonna have a whole crew of lawyers. What am I gonna do?
What? No way!
I have plenty of lawyers on my side, and I plan on getting every bit of help that I can to get the biggest revenge on you, Helen, and that ex-husband of hers. So you better be ready, and tell your mom that too. When I yelled that into the cell phone, Karen was panicking and started to cry.
Wait, Dad, please. My wedding is ruined, and if you take money from my mom and Dad on top of that, we're not gonna be able to survive anymore. I'm sorry. I apologize, so please, think this over. We were family that lived together for 18 years, aren't we?
And you guys are the ones who burnt those 18 years to dust. You did all this to yourselves, so you may as well give up. As we were talking on the phone, I looked at my watch, and it was almost time for the wedding to start. Well, it's almost time to go out. I'm gonna hang up now.
Wait, Dad! Please listen.
I'm not your dad. Goodbye.
Wait! Please, Dad!
I ignored Karen's crying on the phone, and I hung up and then turned my cell phone off. Right at that moment, the doors to the dressing room opened, and Paige appeared dressed in her wedding gown.
Uncle Kevin, it's almost time for the wedding. Oh, were you on the phone?
Yeah, I was, but it's fine now. It's all done. Paige, in her wedding dress, brought back memories of how sweet she was when she was little. And she also looked like a mature woman, and she looked beautiful. You really did grow up to become a wonderful woman, Paige. I'm sure my brother would have loved to walk down the aisle with such a beautiful bride. Seeing Paige as a bride in her wedding dress, I was overwhelmed with all kinds of emotion, and I couldn't help but have tears in my eyes. I wonder if I was just seeing things, but it felt like Paige also had a tear in her eye.
I'm sure he would have. But since you're going to walk down the aisle with me, Uncle Kevin, I'm sure my dad is happy too.
And then Paige put her arm in mine.
Thank you for doing this today, Dad.
After that, I got my divorce from Helen. I also had the help of a crew of lawyers related to Paige, and I was able to squeeze the highest possible settlement fee out of them. In the end, Karen's wedding was canceled, and the marriage was called off as well. Between Helen and Karen and Helen's ex-husband, they pointed their fingers at each other, trying to pin the blame on the others, and I heard they are a disaster. I'm sure they're going to have a lot of difficulty paying the settlement fee towards me, so they should probably get along so that they can work together on that. Thanks to Paige's help, I was able to get back up from that devastation, and I was able to find another job in no time after that. At 55 years old, it was still early for me to go into retirement, and I want to embark on this new chapter of my life as a fresh start. In the future, if or when Paige has children, this time instead of a father figure, I hope I can become a grandfather figure to her kids too.
Thank you for watching! What kind of crazy people will we get to see next? Stay tuned for more!